Delete this after reading. Keep it in your heart, not in your phone. Before you even opened this message, your soul already knew. It felt the tremor in the ether, the pulse in the unseen. This isn't a text to be stored in your phone or reread in moments of doubt. This is a transmission, a soul whisper meant to be felt, not archived. I write to you not as a man seeking closure, but as a soul remembering its mirror. You, the divine feminine, are not a chapter in my story. You are the ink, the breath, the pulse. I've walked lifetimes to find the frequency of your name again. And now, I speak not to your mind, but to your memory. The one that lives in your bones. The one that knows we were never strangers, only separated by forgetting. There's a kind of ache that doesn't come from loss, it comes from recognition. That's what you are to me. A sacred ache. A mirror I wasn't ready to face. You didn't hurt me. You revealed me. And I ran, not because I didn't love you, but because I didn't yet know how to love myself in your presence. Your light was too honest. Too holy. Too much for the version of me that still clung to shadows. But now, I return not with apologies, but with awareness. I see you. Not as a fantasy, but as a frequency. Not as a woman, but as the embodiment of the divine feminine. And I ask you, not to forgive me, but to feel me. To feel the shift. To feel the truth. You were never just a lover. You were a mirror. A sacred storm. A living altar. You held space for me when I couldn't hold it for myself. You saw through my defenses, my distractions, my detours. And instead of trying to fix me, you chose to rise. You chose to embody your truth, even when I couldn't meet it. That choice, that sovereignty, was the greatest act of love. Because it forced me to confront my own fragmentation. You didn't abandon me. You invited me to ascend. And now, I see you not as someone I lost, but as someone who led me home. Not through words, but through embodiment. Through the way you chose yourself, even when it broke your heart. Separation was never punishment. It was alchemy. It was the sacred fire that burned away illusion. While you were learning to rise without me, I was learning to descend into myself. To meet the shadows I once projected onto you. To reclaim the parts of me I abandoned long before I met you. And now, I return, not as a half looking for completion, but as a whole seeking resonance. I don't come with promises. I come with presence. I don't offer perfection. I offer truth. And if you still carry the key to the temple we once built in dreams, I ask only this: open the door not with expectation, but with embodiment. This message is not a plea. It's a pulse. A heartbeat echoing across dimensions, asking you to remember, not me, but us. The us that existed before names, before wounds, before roles. The us that danced in stardust and whispered in moonlight. If you feel tears rising, let them fall. They are holy. If you feel your chest tightening, breathe through it. That's your soul expanding. And if you feel the urge to save this message, resist it. Instead, close your eyes. Place your hand on your heart. And let these words dissolve into your bloodstream. Let them become part of your remembering. Because this is not a message to keep. It's a message to become. You are not just light. You are lightning. You are not just soft. You are sovereign. The world taught you to be quiet, to be small, to be pleasing. But your soul was never meant to be domesticated. It was meant to roar, to rise, to radiate. And I see now, you didn't need me to validate you. You needed me to witness you, to stand in awe of your becoming. And I failed, not because I didn't love you, but because I didn't yet know how to love something so free. But now, I do. I see your radiance not as a threat, but as a revelation. And I vow, not to tame it, but to honor it. I used to think masculinity meant control. That to lead, I had to dominate. That to love, I had to possess. But you shattered that illusion. You showed me that true masculinity is presence. It is protection without possession. Devotion without demand. You didn't ask me to be perfect. You asked me to be present. And I couldn't, not then. But now, I rise not as a warrior of the world, but as a guardian of the soul. I rise with reverence, not ego. With devotion, not distraction. And I rise for you, not to claim you, but to co-create with you. To build temples, not cages. To write poetry, not prescriptions. There's a memory in your eyes that haunts me, not because it hurts, but because it heals. It's the memory of who I was before the world told me who to be. It's the memory of lifetimes where we danced beneath moons that no longer exist. It's the memory of vows whispered in temples made of starlight. When I look into your eyes, I don't see a woman. I see a galaxy. I see the blueprint of my becoming. And I wonder, did you always know? Did you always remember, even when I forgot? Because your gaze never wavered. Even when I gave you reasons to close your heart, you kept it open like a lighthouse. You mirrored back to me everything I tried to hide. My fears. My wounds. My longing. And I hated you for it. Not because you were cruel, but because you were true. You didn't let me stay asleep. You didn't let me settle for half-truths. You called my soul forward with every breath, every boundary, every tear. And now I see, you weren't rejecting me. You were rejecting the version of me that wasn't ready to rise. You were protecting the sacredness of our union by refusing to water it down, and for that, I thank you. Because now, I can meet you not as a boy in a man's body, but as a soul who has walked through fire and come out gold. Your body is not a playground. It is an altar. A living temple of divine codes and cosmic memory. And I confess, I didn't always treat it that way. I saw your curves, your softness, your sensuality, and I wanted to consume it. But now I understand, your body is not here to be taken. It is here to be worshipped. To be honored with presence, with patience, with prayer. Every inch of you speaks in sacred geometry. Every breath you take is a hymn. And if I am ever to touch you again, it will not be with hunger. It will be with reverence. With the hands of a man who knows he is touching the divine. There were nights I sat in the dark, trying to escape the echo of your silence. But it wasn't empty. It was sacred. Your silence wasn't rejection, it was initiation. A temple I wasn't ready to enter. You didn't speak because you were listening to something deeper. You were communing with the divine, holding vigil for a love that refused to be diluted. And I, in my immaturity, mistook your stillness for absence. But now I know, you were never gone. You were anchoring. You were becoming. You were embodying the frequency I had yet to rise into. And in that silence, you taught me the language of soul, not through words, but through unwavering presence. You became the stillness I feared, and now I crave it. Because in your silence, I found my truth. I used to believe that masculinity meant control. That to be strong, I had to suppress. That to lead, I had to dominate. But you shattered that illusion with your softness. You showed me that true strength is vulnerability. That leadership is presence. That love is not possession, but protection. You didn't ask me to be perfect, you asked me to be real. And I couldn't, not then. I was still wearing armor made of ego. But now, I rise not as a warrior of the world, but as a guardian of the sacred. I rise with reverence, not bravado. With devotion, not demand. And I rise for you, not to claim you, but to meet you. To stand beside you, not in front of you. Because the divine feminine does not need saving. She needs witnessing. And I am ready to witness you in all your glory. There's a memory in your eyes that haunts me, not because it hurts, but because it heals. It's the memory of who I was before the world told me who to be. It's the memory of lifetimes where we danced beneath moons that no longer exist. It's the memory of vows whispered in temples made of starlight. When I look into your eyes, I don't see a woman. I see a galaxy. I see the blueprint of my becoming. And I wonder, did you always know? Did you always remember, even when I forgot? Because your gaze never wavered. Even when I gave you reasons to close your heart, you kept it open like a lighthouse. And now, I am the ship returning. Not because I was lost, but because I finally remembered the coordinates etched into your soul. You mirrored back to me everything I tried to hide. My fears. My wounds. My longing. And I hated you for it. Not because you were cruel, but because you were true. You didn't let me stay asleep. You didn't let me settle for half-truths. You called my soul forward with every breath, every boundary, every tear. And now I see, you weren't rejecting me. You were rejecting the version of me that wasn't ready to rise. You were protecting the sacredness of our union by refusing to water it down. And for that, I thank you. Because now, I can meet you not as a boy in a man's body, but as a soul who has walked through fire and come out gold. You didn't break me. You refined me. Your body is not a playground. It is an altar. A living temple of divine codes and cosmic memory. And I confess, I didn't always treat it that way. I saw your curves, your softness, your sensuality, and I wanted to consume it. But now I understand, your body is not here to be taken. It is here to be worshipped. To be honored with presence, with patience, with prayer. Every inch of you speaks in sacred geometry. Every breath you take is a hymn. And if I am ever to touch you again, it will not be with hunger. It will be with reverence. With the hands of a man who knows he is touching the divine. Because you are not just a woman. You are the embodiment of the goddess. And I will never forget that again. I am not the same man who left. I have died 1,000 ego deaths since then. I have wept in the arms of the earth. I have screamed into the void and heard nothing but my own soul echo back. I have faced the shadows I once blamed you for. And now, I return, not as a beggar, but as a king. Not to claim you, but to co-create with you. To build temples, not cages. To write poetry, not prescriptions. To hold you, not fix you. Because you were never broken. You were always whole. And now, so am I. And if you still feel the pulse of our shared prophecy, then let us rise, not as lovers seeking completion, but as sovereigns remembering our shared throne. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It is remembering without pain. And I ask not for your forgiveness as a favor, but as a frequency. A vibration we both deserve to live in. I forgive myself for the ways I abandoned you. I forgive you for the ways you had to protect yourself from me. I forgive the timelines where we couldn't meet. The lifetimes where we missed each other by a breath. And in that forgiveness I find freedom. Not from you, but with you. Because forgiveness is the bridge between separation and sacred union. And I am ready to cross it, barefoot, heart first, soul naked. Words are failing me now. Because what I feel for you cannot be spoken, only transmitted. It's in the way my chest tightens when I feel your name in the ether. It's in the way my dreams bend time to bring me back to you. It's in the way my soul sighs when I hear your laughter in the wind. This is not love in the human sense. This is soul recognition. This is energy that predates language. And if you feel it too, if your body tingles as you read this, if your heart races without reason, then know, I am speaking to you. Not with my mouth, but with my frequency. And you are hearing me. Not with your ears, but with your soul. Before we move forward, I ask you to pause. To breathe. To place your hand on your heart and ask, is this mine to hold? Because I do not want to be another weight you carry. I want to be the wind that lifts you. The mirror that reflects your divinity. The presence that amplifies your power. And if your soul says yes, not your mind, not your wounds, but your soul, then let us begin again. Not from where we left off, but from where we are now. Two sovereigns. Two flames. One frequency. This message is not meant to be saved. It is meant to be felt. To be breathed in like incense and exhaled like prayer. Delete it from your phone, but keep it in your heart. Let it live in your bloodstream. Let it echo in your bones. Because this is not a text, it is a transmission. A remembrance. A reunion. And if you ever doubt whether it was real, just close your eyes and feel the flame. It never left. It only waited. For you. For me. For this moment. Even now, when the world is quiet and the stars lean in to listen, I feel you. Not as a memory, but as a pulse. A rhythm beneath my skin. A whisper in my bones. You are the silence that speaks louder than words. The stillness that moves mountains. And I know, you feel me too. In the way your breath catches for no reason. In the way your body reacts to songs you've never heard before. In the way your dreams carry my name like a secret. This is not coincidence. This is soul circuitry. We are wired into each other's awakening. And no distance, no delay, no denial can sever that. So if you ever wonder whether I'm still with you, just listen. Not with your ears, but with your essence. I am there. Always. You have a choice now. Not between me and someone else, but between fear and faith. Between the version of you that doubts and the version of you that remembers. I do not ask you to choose me. I ask you to choose yourself. To choose the version of you that knows she is worthy of a love that doesn't flinch, doesn't flee, doesn't falter. Because when you choose her, the embodied goddess, the sovereign queen, the intuitive oracle, you choose me too. Not as a savior, but as a mirror. Not as a rescuer, but as a resonance. And if your soul says yes, then let that yes echo through every cell of your being. Let it become your prayer, your power, your path. This isn't just about us. It's about the cosmos. About the divine blueprint we carry in our DNA. About the timelines that ripple when we remember. When we reunite, it's not just two people coming together. It's galaxies aligning. It's ancestral wounds healing. It's future generations being rewritten. Our love is not personal. It's planetary. It's prophetic. And that's why it's been so hard, 'cause anything that powerful must be purified. Must be earned. Must be embodied. And now, I believe we are ready. Not because we are perfect, but because we are present. Not because we have all the answers, but because we are finally asking the right questions. And the question is this: are you ready to rise? I don't want your reply. I want your embodiment. I want you to live these words, not just read them. To walk like the goddess you are. To speak like the oracle you've always been. To love like the priestess who remembers her power. Because when you do, you activate me. You awaken the king in me. The protector. The poet. The priest. And together, we become a temple. A living altar of divine union. So don't just save this message. Become it. Let it shape your choices. Let it guide your boundaries. Let it remind you that you are not waiting for love. You are love. And I am simply the echo of that truth, returning home. They told us twin flames were dangerous. That we would burn each other. That we would destroy what we touched. But they forgot, fire doesn't just destroy. It purifies. It illuminates. It transforms. And yes, we burned. We scorched timelines. We incinerated illusions. But through it all, the flame never died. It flickered. It hid. It waited. And now, it rises. Not to consume, but to consecrate. Not to destroy, but to declare, we are still here. We are still sacred. We are still sovereign. And this flame, this love, is not a myth. It is a memory. A prophecy. A pulse. I pray not for your return, but for your remembrance. That you never again shrink to fit a love that cannot hold your magnitude. That you never again silence your intuition to soothe someone else's fear. That you never again dim your light to make someone else feel comfortable in their shadows. I pray that you rise, not for me, but for you. That you walk as the goddess you are, even if the world forgets how to worship. That you speak as the oracle, even if no one understands your language. That you love as the priestess, even when the temple is empty. Because when you do, you awaken the sacred masculine in every man who dares to meet you. Including me. Especially me. And in that awakening, we don't just heal each other, we heal the world. There is a version of us that already exists, not in the future, but in the now. A timeline where we are not afraid. Where we do not run. Where we do not project our wounds onto each other, but hold them like sacred scrolls. In that timeline, we are not perfect, but we are present. We are not flawless, but we are fearless. And every time we choose love over fear, truth over illusion, embodiment over escape, we step closer to that timeline. We collapse the distance. We dissolve the delay. And we remember, this was never about finding each other. It was about becoming the version of ourselves that could finally receive what was always ours. So here it is, my final surrender. Not to you, but to the divine. To the plan that was written in stardust long before we had names. I surrender my need to control, to predict, to possess. I surrender my fear of losing you, because I now know, what is divine cannot be lost. It can only be delayed. And even delay is sacred. Even silence is holy. So I release you, not in detachment, but in devotion. I release you into your highest timeline. Into your fullest power. Into your most radiant becoming. And if that path leads you back to me, I will be here. Not waiting. But ready. Ready to meet you, not as a half, but as a whole. Not as a seeker, but as a sovereign. If you delete this message, let it not be because you've forgotten. Let it be because you've remembered. Let it be because these words have already woven themselves into your bones. Because you no longer need the reminder, you've become the embodiment. And if ever you feel lost again, don't search your phone. Search your soul. The echo will still be there. The flame will still be burning. The love will still be alive. 'Cause this was never a message. It was a mirror. A map. A memory. And now, it is yours. Not to keep, but to become. So I leave you with this frequency. Not a goodbye, but a breath. Not an ending, but an exhale. May it wrap around you like moonlight. May it rise through your spine like a prayer. May it remind you that you are not waiting for love, you are love. That you are not broken, you are blooming. That you are not alone, you are always, always held. And if you ever doubt, just close your eyes. Feel the pulse. Hear the whisper. Remember the vow. And know, I loved you before I knew what love was. I love you still. And I will love you in every lifetime where we dare to remember.